Welcome to Gospel Knives YouTube channel. This video I'm going to talk about the large knives that I make, different models and the different specifications of each one. It's just something about large knives that gets that wide-eyed factor to it. I know when I used to do the shows, the first thing people grab are the big knives. There's a lot of controversy about them as far as use in the field. A lot of people prefer an axe over a large knife, or a hatchet over a large knife. Axe is in a class by itself, but I really prefer to use a large knife over a hatchet. I think it's safer and a little bit more versatile than what a hatchet is, but that's personal opinion, and everybody has their likes and dislikes. Some people love big knives and some people hate them. The one particular model that I make that's extremely popular is the Tusker. Some of you watching this video might even own one. The big Board Tusker is probably the one I make the most of. The standard size is the 8-inch blade, 13 inches overall, 1/4 inch thick by 1 3/4 wide. I believe this is the first one I ever made. I still have it. It's 01. It's seen a lot of use. If you go on my website and take a look at that one photo of the knife laying on that stump, that was a 25-foot tree I chopped down with this knife in the front yard of my house. But I had since changed the handles on it. It had mesquite and they got cracked, so I went ahead and put my card on it. But that's the one that's very popular. I make a lot of these for different people. This is another big bore with a 7-inch blade. This is actually one I'm making for a customer. Haven't finished it yet. This one they wanted it without the choil. The choil is this finger cut out in front of the handle. The nice thing about the choil is you can choke up and you can do fine work with it. Some people like them and some people don't. It's a personal preference. When you get the Tusker with the choil, it's 1 inch. 8-inch blade, you're going to end up with a 7-inch cutting edge. So some people prefer to get it without the choil because I only put a 1/4 inch ricasso on my knives, so you can actually get up close to the cutting edge without the choil. This is a standard Tusker. The standard is 3/16 by 1.5 wide. This one is 8-inch with the 1-inch choil. I offer the standard in anywhere from 5 to 8-inch, the big bore 7 to 10-inch, and then the other size big bore is 1/4 inch by 1.5, which I offer from 5 to 10-inch, whatever blade length you prefer. But that's the standard model right there. Another one that I make that is the big bore is just recently made. I made a couple of these, but this is one I made for a boar hunt that I'm going on next year. This is a Tusker Bowie. This one's a 1/4 inch by 1.5. I have made them a 1/4 by 1 3/4 wide. It has the typical Bowie style clip point blade. This one has a guard, which is also an option for the other Tuskers. You can get it with a guard also. But this is another variation of the Tusker. Now another one that I came up with when I started making 10-inch blades was, it's kind of a joke, but we call it the Mother Tusker, which it really doesn't even look like a Tusker. It has a handle design similar to another model, which I'm going to show here in a minute. It does have the Tusker blade. This one is a 1/4 inch by 2 inch wide, so it's a much larger size knife that I make. Yeah, these usually they come in 10-inch. I will make them shorter than that if people prefer a shorter blade, but this is one heck of a chopper here. The other one that has the same similar handle design is my version of the Dave Beck tracker knife, or wilderness survival knife. I call mine the WST, the wilderness survival tool. So mine is basically the shape of the Beck, only I don't have the saw teeth on the back, and I don't have the double grind on it. It's just straight grind on this particular knife. For a I believe it's about between 6.5 inch blade, this thing's got a lot of power, chopping power for a small knife. You got the width, you got the thickness, and it does one heck of a job at chopping and splitting. Now, a lot of people, like I say, they don't, you know, batoning is one of those things that's pretty controversial, but I like the baton. You get the pieces sawed, and it's pretty simple when you have a large knife like that to be able to baton through it with a knife rather than trying to do it with a hatchet. Now, if you've got a hatchet that's a full tang all metal hatchet, it works pretty well. But when you get into pieces like this that you may have split with your axe, you can break them down pretty good with a large blade. And it's batoning. You can start over here and do splits across the piece of wood, and it's a pretty simple matter of just pounding the knife down through the piece of wood. And it's pretty effective with a large knife, especially with a thick blade. And then you can continue to just pound right down through it. And this blade being so wide and thick really separates the wood when it goes down through. So, using a large knife for that, rather than using a hatchet, is something that a lot of people like to do. As far as chopping with a large knife, I should have grabbed a stick to demonstrate. But basically what I do is hold the piece of wood up here and just hold it at an angle and chop like this, and work my way around it until I chop it in half, rather than laying it on the ground and trying to chop it in this manner. It's easier to hold it and chop like that. You can really get through it a lot quicker. And same with if you have a piece that you need to get the limbs off, just hold it up and just knock the limbs off as you go down, you know, until you get it where you want. But these are the different large knives that I make, and like I say, the Tusker is probably the most popular out of all of them. I have made several of the WST, but it doesn't seem to go over as well as what the Tusker does. So if you're interested in any of the large camp knives that I make, take a look at my website. I just rebuilt it. Pretty happy about the way it turned out. I got photos on there. I've got a pricing and specs page on there. You can take a look at that, and if you see something that you like and you want me to make it for you, just shoot me an email or give me a phone call. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have fun with those big knives, because they do get the job done.